Imagine two people facing the exact same stressful situation. Person 1 becomes anxious and overthinks for hours, while person 2 regains composure in just minutes. Now, at first, you might think it's a personality difference, but neuroscience actually suggests something else. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can be person 2 in any situation, and how you can rewire your brain in ways you didn't even know possible. Now, grab a notebook and a pen, take some notes, and let's get into it. Part number 1, the pattern. You see, scientists once believed that the adult brain was actually fixed and set after a certain age. Today, we know that the brain is constantly evolving and adapting through the process of neuroplasticity. The brain has this amazing ability to reorganize and reshape itself based on experiences, based on thoughts, based on behaviors. Your brain is constantly learning and adapting. You see, every thought, every emotion, and every action activates neurons in your brain. And the more often those networks are used, the more often those same neurons are fired, the stronger and more efficient they become. And this is the process of learning. And when we talk about learning, that includes everything from learning a skill, learning a new habit, learning a new way of thinking, a new way of reacting, and even just learning to learn, which is an amazing skill that I've practiced. And the more I've learned new things, like learning the Rubik's Cube, learning a new language, learning how to change my ways and change my behavior, so that when something happens, I don't react the same way for years, but I actually choose the way I react, changing my response to the things that happen to me. These are all things that help me learn how to learn. And learning how to learn is one of the biggest skills. Think about it. If you are a very quick and adaptable and fast learner, then it doesn't really matter what you need to learn. You're always going to adapt very quickly. If you developed a bad habit, now you can use your brain to your own advantage. You know how easily you can actually relearn and rechange your brain and neural circuits to actually change behavior. And actually, this is the more scientific explanation for identity shifting. Your brain is always being programmed. For example, repeated stress makes the stress pathways in your brain stronger. Repeated distraction makes the distraction pathways in your brain stronger. And repeated focus strengthens the focus pathways in your brain. The more you do one thing, the more likely you are to do it again. This is why it's so hard to get rid of bad habits that have been there for a long time. You've been training the bad habits. You've been training the distraction, the procrastination, the scrolling, the wasting time. You've been training it so much that it's become such a strong part of your identity. Those pathways in your brain that are involved in the whole process, everything from when you get the thought to do the bad habit to replaying the feeling and emotions of doing that thing and then actually doing it, everything from start to finish, it's all happening in your brain. As soon as you get the trigger to do a bad habit, instantly your brain is starting the cycle. The trigger leads to thoughts, and then you get thoughts, and those thoughts create emotions, and emotion drives action. And this is where everything changes, because through the use of neuroplasticity, understanding that your brain is in fact malleable and you can change behavior even if it's strong, knowing that and taking the right steps, which we're going to discuss in part 2 and 3, is going to allow you to change any part of your identity and behavior, which, if you know, is going to change your success. Say you're not making the amount of money you want to be making, 80% of that is due to your identity and the way you see yourself and your pre-programmed mental beliefs. If you're not in the shape that you want to be, that's also due to identity and your current state of mind. This is also the reason why you find yourself working for 10 minutes and then you pick up your phone, or you just pick up your phone so often that you're just like training distraction. You become so good at it. And now, to get to the next step, we first need to identify all of the negative behaviors in our life that are holding us back from our goals. And of course, knowing the positive ones help, but the positive ones, if something is working, you don't change it. If you have a positive behavior, there's no reason to study it, because, why should you change a positive behavior? Instead, look at the negative behaviors in your life. And this is where we're going to use neuroplasticity and this one habit that I'm going to show you to actually make the biggest change from an identity level. Now, most people think they're not where they want to be because of, luck or circumstance or whatever. But as you're going to understand in this video, it is because of the actions you take. It is because of the thoughts you have and the inputs that you give permission to enter your world. There's a very deep identity-based reason as to why you don't have the results in your life, as to why you're not able to put 4 hours of deep work, as to why you're not able to be consistent with the habits, as to why focus feels so hard, as to why it feels so easy to scroll, to get distracted, to procrastinate, and to do every single thing that you know you shouldn't be doing. All of these things that you might struggle from, it is not by mere coincidence. It has happened through years of mental programming. But the good news is you can program your brain the exact opposite way. And I'm going to show you how. Part 2, the practice. So the practice I want to talk about is meditation. But hold on, before you think this is generic, it's not meditating in the way that most people think about it. You see, meditation is not just about emptying the mind. Like, that's such a vague term. What does that actually mean? Meditation, the one I'm talking about in this video, is more systematically about training attention. You see, during meditation, the mind wanders. When you sit down, you put a timer, you close your eyes, you're going to be thinking about something, and then you need to pull yourself back. And that key moment when you notice that you're thinking and distraction is coming in and you have these thoughts, these random thoughts, that is a key moment where you gently bring your attention back. And that is where you train the muscle of attention, the muscle of focused direction. You see, with meditation, a basic meditation you can do is just sit down, close your eyes, sitting upright, and just focusing on your breath. You're not breathing deeply. You're just focusing on those small inhales and exhales. You're focusing on how it feels, the flow of breath, and basically you're putting your awareness on something that doesn't have a label. You cannot really put a label on breathing, and that's why focusing on it is a good way to be present. It is a good way to take your awareness away from this thought space, being so enveloped and involved in your own mental thinking, in your own mental world, and taking awareness away from that towards something that is formless, like your breath. Now, this continuous practice of sitting down, doing your meditations, being focused, being aware of your breath, not being in your mind and getting pulled back into the thought world, getting distracted again, and then focusing again, and then getting distracted, and then focusing. You're practicing the art of just pulling your attention to where you want it to be. And that's such a strong thing. And just like you train a muscle, you are training your attention. And coming back to the key point of this whole video, it is about rewiring your brain. The same way that behaviors are rooted into mental programming, neural pathways that have been built upon years of doing something, meditation allows you to access that part of your brain so you can change behavior so quickly. You're essentially practicing with meditation, shifting your internal states. Now, each rep of this meditation, being distracted and pulling your focus back, it strengthens circuits deep in your brain responsible for attention control, self-awareness, and also cognitive control. And over time, with the practice of meditation, these circuits become easier and more efficient to access. And even brain imaging studies, they actually show this. They show changes in regions associated with concentration, with focus, with emotional regulation, with learning, and even decision-making in people who meditate regularly. So the reason why meditation is such a powerful practice that has been there for centuries. Meditation is not new. People have been practicing since the beginning of time. And the key here is by constantly directing your attention, by practicing and strengthening the muscle of being able to take your awareness from point A to point B with discipline, you are directly influencing which neural pathways grow stronger and stronger. Now, this video is a little bit different than my usual videos, a bit more science, a bit more neuroscience, more studies. So I hope you're enjoying this video. Leave a like and subscribe. Now let's get into part number 3, the transformation. Now, the biggest mistake people actually make is thinking that meditating is about relaxing. The real benefit is that it controls your ability to direct your attention. Every time you notice a thought and you focus and you bring yourself back, you're practicing a skill that carries over onto everyday life. This is why meditation can improve discipline. And just think about how much sense this makes. Every negative habit you have, it always happens from a thought. You see, you're sitting down to work and then you get the thought of checking your phone. What if somebody sent me a message? What if I'm missing something? What if, there's a nice reel that I can watch? What if that person texted me? Whatever. It's always just a thought that triggers the emotions and then you take the action. But if you think about it, the exact process of meditation can be applied to anything. You see, when you get that thought to pick up your phone and get distracted, you bring your awareness away from that and back towards the work that you're doing. Same thing. If you get an urge to do a bad habit, and by pulling your awareness away from the bad habit or the distraction, it loses energy. You see, whatever you focus on, wherever your awareness is, that is where your mental energy is being pulled. So if your awareness is constantly on a certain thought, the thought builds up and it becomes more energetically charged. Where your awareness goes, your energy flows. Also, being involved in an emotion. You have this, maybe a negative emotion, maybe you're worrying, and your awareness is just so strongly attached to this emotion. But meditation allows you to take your awareness away from that negative emotion towards a more positive state that aligns with your future identity, with the life you want to live, the success you want to build. Meditation also trains you to notice shifts in your body, in your internal state, in your mind, without immediately reacting to them. So the same way that it trains you to always take your awareness away from something that is going to hold you back and direct it towards the thing that you want to do. It also trains you to notice the negative thinking. You start to actually notice when you get these urges to go get distracted, to procrastinate, to scroll, to do the bad habit, whatever. And you're able to see those urges as an urge. You're able to be self-aware. And when you separate that urge from you, it doesn't have this strong magnetic hold over you. And that's also what meditation trains you. It creates a void between impulse and action. You're no longer controlled by your impulses, by these immediate desires that you have. Getting a thought about how you want to eat junk food is not going to mean that you have to eat junk food. Getting that urge and thought to go sit on your bed and just doom scroll and waste your time, that does not translate to actually doing the thing, because you have control over your mental state, over your thoughts. I started meditating October 2025, and I started with 5 minutes a day. And ever since then, I've had some months where I would do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But meditation is hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It is one of the hardest habits for myself as well. I had all the habits like reading, like journaling, like exercise, doing deep work, work, everything was set in stone. But the one thing that I could never be consistent with was meditation. And that's why I put my head down. I had to practice meditation first thing in the morning. I changed it to a habit I already do, which was reading at the time. So every time I would wake up, I would freshen up. I would go sit down, read, and then instantly after that, I would meditate. By pairing a habit that I already do to a habit I want to implement, it just made it so much easier. That's pretty much Atomic Habits. Now back to the main point here, October 2025, I started to take meditation seriously. And now since a week, I've been meditating for 30 minutes every day. And it changes my everything. It changes my focus. It changes my attention, my self-awareness. I have way more self-control. I'm way more aware on like what bothers me, on what emotions I feel. Like meditation is one of those habits that like there is no surprise as to why every single successful person you see, chances are they meditate. And that's probably why they are successful as they are. So the one habit that rewires your brain is meditation. And neuroscience has proven time and time again with so many studies the positive effect that meditation has on so many areas in your life. So if you want to start meditating, don't overdo it. Keep it simple. You see, the more you complicate starting a good habit, the more it just creates this friction. And as you know, friction, mental friction between you and the things you want to do, just makes it harder to do them. So between you and meditation, reduce the friction as much as possible. Meditate first thing in the morning if it's a hard habit for you to practice. Start with 2 minutes, go sit down somewhere in a peaceful and quiet environment. Set yourself a timer for 5 minutes and then just close your eyes, sit so still, don't move a muscle, and focus on your breath. You can focus on anything pretty much. You can focus on the way your body feels. You can have your awareness focused on the background noise. You can focus on your spatial awareness, but I find it's best to focus on my breath. It's the easiest thing to focus on. So don't overthink it. There are actually also plenty of guides on YouTube, and I'm also going to make a video on how to meditate exactly. And the biggest takeaway here is that meditation doesn't change how you feel. It changes your default way of thinking and responding to anything. And it helps you become more focused, more disciplined, and more intentional in every area of your life. And this is why it's one of the most common recommendations I give to people who join our mentorship or the community. Now, if you want to join the private community, click the first link below. Or if you want to get deeper one-on-one coaching with myself on how to rewire your habits, fix your focus, and create a system tailored to you that is going to help you consistently take the actions every single day to get to your goal. And if you're tired of procrastinating, losing focus, getting distracted, and you know you have big goals that are waiting for you to just be consistent, then click the second link in the description below. Your level of success never exceeds your level of discipline. Take care, and you got this.